here with Vin Weber, famous Minnesota strategist and one of the best in the country. Vin, I'm curious about the state of the Republican Party and how you see it at this point. And here's the crux of my question. After the election, we had a lot of discussion about how the Republican Party needed to reposition itself, and there seemed to be some earnest effort behind that. In the last few weeks, the Republican Party has gotten wind in its sails over the Benghazi issue, the IRS, and the AP wiretapping. And the question is, do you think these more recent things are a distraction from that deeper repositioning of the Republican Party, or do you think it kind of melts?
Well, first of all, you're very much right about the reaction after the 2012 election. The party was refocused to a substantial degree. The Republican National Committee was focusing on minority communities and technologies and other issues that they needed to address. And I think that was very, very good. And progress on the immigration bill is a response to that change in the Republican Party as much as anything else. I think what's happened the last few weeks with the scandals, or whatever you want to call them, that we've seen in the last few weeks, have changed the dynamic within the party quite a bit, and given us the possibility that this next election will look a lot like 2010. Now, there's good and bad to that. After all, the Republicans took back the House of Representatives in 2010, made historic gains. They did it because of this tremendous energy at the grassroots level from conservative voters, sometimes called Tea Party voters. I think that's way oversimplifying it. But we also paid a price longer term in that regard because we didn't really define a party agenda going forward, and we found out in the 2012 election that it was difficult for us to compete as a presidential party, even though we could win in an off year. We might see that. I mean, what's happened in Washington with the IRS scandal and the Benghazi issue and even the AP reporters problem is that every grassroots activist conservative's fears about government overreach have kind of come into stark contrast. And it's hard to say to them, you know, your fears are paranoid or conspiratorial, or, you know, you shouldn't worry about that, when what we see is really quite alarming in some regards. Regardless whether or not the president had anything to do with this, the reach of government into journalists and people's tax returns and things like that is alarming.
But in terms of the concern after 2012 about a longer-term agenda and how to define the party, does this, you know, focus on overreach strike you as meeting that test?
I don't know. I don't want the party to get distracted from the long-term goal of thinking about how we build a party that can appeal to minority voters and a rapidly changing electorate. And there's a chance that we will focus so much on the IRS scandal particularly, and Benghazi maybe, that we won't think we have to deal with some of the bigger problems. But you know, there's a lot of people in the party that really get where we are and understand what happened in 2012 and know that we have to, as a party, be something different than we've been in the past. I don't think that's going to go away, but it may recede for a while the, you know, energy at the grassroots of our party is focused on these, in their view, and my view, huge abuses of power by the federal government.
Larry Jacobs here with Vin Weber, University of Minnesota, Center for the Study of Politics and Governance.